What's
The
up,
champ.
Thug?
How are you?
I'm good, man. You?
I'm good. I'm good. So, did you watch your fighters fight, man?
Nah, man. I ain't get. I just told James to send it to me. I forgot all about it. Honestly, man. When I got back in town last night, I woke up this morning. Read the word, kicked it in for a minute, and then I'm like, oh snap, James. Let me tap in and see what's up. He told me he took an L, man. What happened?
I mean, he gassed. He gassed. He gassed.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Mhm.
I feel like he ain't trained hard enough. Like I feel like he was a little
Yeah.
too round,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the worst part is that he did so good in that first round. Like I told him, you're gonna go back and watch that fight, and he just dropped off. He going back watch that fight and kick himself, man. That's the sad part. There he goes.
My bad. My
Yeah, I was
bad.
saying he's gonna go back and watch that fight and kick himself because he did well in that first round. Arguably, he won that round. I certainly gave him that round.
Mhm.
And But he left it all in that round. It was
Yeah.
that nervous energy, the anxiety, and once that energy escaped him, it was a back foot mentality from there. And Rocky Rodriguez is taller slightly, but
Mhm.
he was in better shape. Immediately, I
Mhm.
seen that too, and
He was a Mexican,
Puerto Rican.
a Puerto Rican.
Hmm.
He looked black.
I guess, but he certainly Puerto Rican. Came out. He came out to Mark Anthony and the Puerto Rican hoodie
Yeah.
flag on for sure.
No,
Yeah,
he told me. How tall was he?
not that much taller, man. I
He
don't
probably ain't
know.
the same guy. He showed me. I don't think he's the same guy. He showed me a real tall dude sparring inside of like a fitness in the yoga studio with some dude, kind of scenario sparring. But let me say this, man. When I was working with him, the last day I worked with him, right? Because we only work twice a week,
Mm,
right? And and the sparring we did was just scenario based. I wanted him to get used to punches coming his way, right? He was turning his head when I would punch at him,
mm,
lose positioning with his feet. And so I'm trying whatever I can to get him to understand how you need to carry yourself in the ring. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to actually fighting and not hitting the miss. Like I tell you in 2 seconds flat, bro, 80% of the stuff you need to know in boxing, you gotta learn through sparring, bro. You ain't gonna learn on no mitts and no bag work, man. You might
mm-hmm.
think you can, but you can't. And I was telling him this right here based on what you telling me, man. I said, listen. Don't go in there and punch yourself out, man. I don't want you throwing no more than 3 or 4 punches, making your exit, and then find another way to execute. Because he told me he wasn't sparring. So if you ain't sparring, you don't really know what it's like in that ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you telling me right now he punched himself out in the first round. He told me he got stopped in the second. Man, I'm just like, yeah. I'm sure what
And
happened is exactly what I thought.
the stoppage. It was more fatigue. Like I know he has to, and I'm saying it because I know he's listening. I want him to feel bad because it's like you let your tank decide your
Yeah,
win. It wasn't the
yeah,
skill because in
yep.
that first
I knew
round,
it too.
it's even enough, And again, I gave him the first round, but
Yeah,
after that, he just lost
yeah.
his.
It dwindles.
There's no
Yeah,
gas.
man, I don't care what that. Like I said, man, we putting in an hour and a half days. I was doing hours and a half with him, trying to get him prepared because I knew there wasn't much I could do for him in 1 month. I had
Mm-hmm.
wished he worked for me for two. You know what I'm saying? But we worked a little over 1 month, man. And I pushed him, man. He was in the grass throwing up. You know what I'm saying? At times I did what I could for him, but this the thing though, man. I told him today on the phone, man. It wasn't so much of a loss, it was more of a lesson. You
For
know what I'm saying?
sure.
That's the L you took. So the courage he has to have is the courage to get back in there. This don't mean nothing. This wasn't nothing but a learning experience. You
Not
know what I'm
only
saying?
that,
Now you
though.
know.
Not only that, it's like I told him myself. We found out on fight night. I didn't know, and that's why I'm glad this is in the hands of the commission. USA Boxing
Yeah.
handles that. But I'm doing my job as a commentator, and I do a pre-fight interview with Rocky, his opponent, and he had a couple smokers. I don't know if James knew
Yeah.
that. So,
James told me. He told me he said
oh,
he has like 7 fights.
So that's experience. So
Experience.
Rocky knew not to
Yeah.
drain himself, and he let James. Yeah, I'll give you that
Yeah.
first round because
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do my thing.
Yeah.
So
Yup. Exactly.
James needs to
Exactly, man. That's the
understand.
key.
He still needs to understand. Like I was in there with someone that was more experienced with me, and I hung in
Yeah.
there for as long as I could. Like
Yeah.
you just got to
Yeah.
work on that tank, in my opinion. But
Man, listen, he
obviously it was
adapts so well.
yeah.
He adapts really well, man. He listens very well, man. He follows instruction really good. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. It's just at this point, it's all about the experience, man. You gotta get in there.
Yeah, no better experience than actually getting in there, man. There's no way you're gonna get rid of that anxiety. But I do want to get your thoughts on Edgar Berlanga. From
Yeah,
my title, I feel like he's proved the haters wrong. He did better than
yeah,
expected. I don't
absolutely.
know how much credit you give him, but he
Yeah.
did make it the distance. He didn't get,
Hmm.
knocked out. Plant got knocked out
Right,
when he fought him,
right,
and that
right,
was
right.
actually Canelo's last knockout.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some people felt like Jaime Munguia did better than Berlanga because he let his hands go more. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know.
Right.
How do you assess it?
Um, he was more defensive than he should have been, right? He was more durable than I thought, right? He held himself pretty well, man. I knew once he got knocked down in the third round, I knew if he could have lasted the next two rounds, his brain would adapt. So I don't know if you know, but if you get dropped, bro, I've been dropped a couple of times. And once you get up and you just and go a couple rounds, it's like your brain just kind of registers, and it's hard for you to go down, again, unless you gas, right? But I'm gonna be honest, man. He did a much better job than I thought. I'm gonna still give him a lot of credit, even though I felt like he was more defensive than he should have been. It was a pretty decent performance in my book, coming from Belanga.
What's your thoughts on Danny, man?
Yeah,
Taking the knee and then his
yeah,
father, you know,
yeah,
basically
yeah.
pulling the plug on the fight.
Man, kudos to his father, bro. I'm not one of those cats, especially today. And I've been in this situation. My last fight with Uzgatagi, man. Not my last fight, my second to last fight with Uzgatagi. They was talking about. I just saw a stitch at the fight. You know what I'm saying? Gave that man a lot of love. I almost loved him like as if he was the father, because I know he cared about me that much. Him and Verge made the call to stop the fight, man. I'm just like, give me one more round. He's like, nah, that's it. And after it was all said and done, like, of course, I was kind of pissed about it earlier, and I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying, like, man, I could have tried one more, but you know, that's his father, bro. Like, we love the sport of boxing, but you can't love the sport of boxing more than you love your son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Danny is in a great position, man. Like, Danny jumped in the ring, I'm sure, to see himself if he still has it, man. The biggest problem with that fight for me was you didn't pressure Lara like you should have. You know what I'm saying? Lara was too comfortable the whole time. There was no pressure. You
Mm-hmm.
allow him to fight his fight.
Yeah,
Like
you can't go outbox Erislandy Lara.
yeah.
He's a boxer.
No, man, absolutely not. That was the first thing. He's 41, you know what I'm saying? And that's telling you he's going to fight patiently, and he's a boxer, right? So even when Lara was pressing Danny, it was to keep Danny at bay. It wasn't necessarily to force action. It was just to let him know that I'm there. But if Danny would have pressed him more, Danny would have posed more of a threat, and it would have been a huge threat to Lara's conditioning, because he's 41, man. He didn't put on the gas, man, and his daddy stepping in saying no. I saw him in the corner saying no. We're gonna stop. We're gonna stop. I can tell that was clearly his father's decision. I love it. I loved it. I loved his father for what he did, man. Like, I don't love this sport more than I love my kids, man. That's a fact.
Yeah, man. So you have any sons?
Yeah, man. I got four.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Wow!
Andre
Wow!
Jr. Yeah, yeah, I got four. I got Andre Jr.
Bro, that is
Yeah.
so not common, man. You are the man, bro. I'm lucky I got one, bro. I got one and three girls. Wow.
Yeah, man. I got my daughter. She the oldest. She 18. My son's 16. He'll be 17 in December.
Oh, he got a call or lost service.
What happened?
I don't know. Damn. Come on, Dirrell. Do, 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 do. Oh, I think he muted himself. Am I don't know. All right. All right. We'll see if he calls back. And damn, we lost King Counter Stainless. Uh-oh.
He muted himself. Oh, here
He's
you go.
back. He's back.
Man, I was my bad. I was getting the call, bro. I don't know if that
Nah, don't worry.
info.
Yeah, it
But
knocked you
what did
off,
I
but
say
it's all good.
last? Did you hear me?
I did
What did I
not.
say last?
I can't remember.
Okay, so yeah. So I told you I got four boys, right?
Yes, yes. You were
16,
telling me that
16.
your oldest daughter was 18, and then you were
Yeah,
saying your 16-year-old son, and you stopped there.
yeah. I got a 12-year-old. I got a 12-year-old boy as well. He's an athlete to the fullest, man. He can box. He can play baseball. He can play basketball. You know what I'm saying? I got a 3-year-old and I got a 1-year-old as well, man. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Bless,
all them
man.
boys. Yeah, the girl leads the pack.
So that leads me
No
to:
doubt.
are you going to let any of them actually fight, or are you just letting them box for self-defense?
That's up to them. It's their life, man. Like now, both of them said they wanted to do it. As my 16-year-old got older, he realized he didn't. He loved basketball more than he loved, like boxing. Boxing is a difficult sport, man. And it's not a road I want to go down again. But I never stop my kids from stopping, from doing what they want to do, man. So I'm not going to inflict none of my troubles or my past on their future. If that's something you want to do, then that's a career I'm gonna have to bind myself to again. You know what I'm saying? I
For
don't
sure.
want to, but yes, that's totally up to them.
Now you say you don't want to, but you mean that from like
I've
father-son
been down.
relationship?
I've been down this road. Not even the danger aspect. As soon as you walk out the door, your life is at risk, right? But I've been down this road before. I just don't feel like traveling the same road, and not in the same sense. That is. So if I'm a coach, then I'm essentially a fighter again. You know what I'm saying? Coach and a fighter has to be in the same place. And when it comes to the father-son relationship, now I gotta learn how to decipher being a coach, from being a father, and two, I gotta be everywhere the fighter is, man. I gotta make sure the fighter's doing what he's supposed to do. So essentially, I'm getting that ring again myself, and I just don't feel like going down that road again, bro.
Nah, I get it. I get it.
I'm having so much fun on the other side of the ropes. It's ridiculous, man. We just came down there with the podcast, covered the fight, had an excellent time, man. So, like, I'm just loving being on this side of the ropes, honestly.
And let everybody know where they can listen to the podcast and how they can
Yeah,
follow it.
Dre Day on.
He got another call. Dre, they blowing up. I hear you, champ.
He bothering me, man.
I hear
Yo,
you.
can you
Yep.
hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. I don't think he hears us.
Yeah, jump back in.
I guess so. I'm gonna wrap it up in just a bit. So if he jumps back, we'll get to that. Got you.
Now I don't know what's going on, but so that's Andre Ward and Berto calling me right now. They keep FaceTiming me,
Mm.
you know. But uh, every time I do that, it goes out, man. So yeah, all the smoke is Dre Day episode on YouTube. We just covered the podcast, you know. Instagram, my name Andre Dirrell, simple. Um, and YouTube, my name as well, Andre Dirrell. I got a few things going, man. I'm gonna build up that soon enough, and I'm actually working on the fitness spot right now as well.
And you still doing the training videos on your YouTube channel, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's not even in full effect yet, but I fit it in where I can, man. I'm about to start going heavily on everything, right? But that's in the works as well on YouTube as well.
All right, Dre. Well, we appreciate you, man. I'm gonna let you get to it. He got that FaceTime again. You hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you now.
Nah, I was just saying I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you get to it because obviously you are busy. But that was all
I
our
got
questions. Oh, you got one? Okay.
yeah, I got one question for the OG Andre Dirrell.
My
Andre
guy.
Dirrell, it's your boy Two Tone the Superstar. You sparred the Mexican monster David
Hmm.
Benavidez. I saw the sparring. Now,
Yeah.
this version of Canelo that you saw this past Saturday night, does David steamroll this version of Canelo?
Man, ain't nobody steaming nobody in that fight, right? I think that's gonna
Mm,
be a good matchup. I think I think the pressure aspect is the only thing going for David. Other than that, man, I think there's a high probability of him getting caught with a clean shot. You know what I'm saying? Multiple, actually. Like he's unconventional. Now, I like David a lot. He's a monster. That's what they call him. But I meant that in a literal sense, man. He's a monster, full of energy. You know what I'm saying? He has combination power. He doesn't have one punch knockout power, right? He has great hand speed, but again, man, he stands straight up. He has no hips. Like a proper boxer will give him a lot of problems, man. We've seen it in the past, right? Um, I think that's to me, you know, that's in if I had to pick someone, I would pick David to win that fight, right?
mm.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a blowout. I'm not seeing this. If a stoppage does happen, I see that coming from Canelo. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But anything's possible in that fight. Anything's possible. Like he's not stopping Canelo. He's going to get cracked by Canelo. I think there's a bigger chance that he might get caught by Canelo than it would be for him to gas Canelo out and then stop him. You know what I'm saying? So if there's a stoppage, David's getting stopped. If it's a decision, I can see David winning as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's like 50-50 in that aspect. You know?
Okay. All right.
Got you, champ. Appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you always, brother.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Andre
The champ.
Dirrrell. We got Stainless. Stainless. King Counter.